So, first, Dr. Muira, I just want to say how grateful I am to you for sitting here with me today, but also for the ways that you have changed my life and helped me in my healing journey as my acupuncturist and guide and mentor, I think. And I'm just so grateful and delighted that you're going to be here with us today. So I know that we talked a little bit about what we might talk about today, but I'm curious first if you might like to share anything that you would like me and us to know about your lineage.
Well, my lineage was being born and raised in Hawaii, and I was intimately connected to the indigenous Hawaiian community, but raised in a Buddhist education. So we had meditation every morning, and the Hawaiian families that were our neighbors and friends growing up, there was a lot of love and hospitality. And
Can I jump in really quickly? How would it be if we turned off the air real quickly? I want people to be able to hear you. There we go. Good. So you were just sharing about your spiritual lineage
and then I think my parents were a big influence in my life. They were raised Buddhists and also had some exposure to Christianity. They grew up in a plantation in Hawaii. And my parents always had a philanthropic spirit. There was a joke about our back hill. It was pretty much a burial place for animals that my parents picked up that were either injured. My father tried to save what he could, animals that were hit or fell from a tree. I remember we always either took in the animals or gave them a very sacred burial, part of the ritual. So we were taught from early on to respect life in all its forms, from plants to animals to human beings. And that I'm forever grateful. Later, I had some exposure to Christianity, to different forms of religion. I taught yoga for many years, so I loved reading the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita. And then maybe 30 years ago, I got into Taoism, which is the birthplace of this medicine. And I think Taoism really brought everything together for me. It's a simple way of life where we seek the middle path, which the Buddha constantly spoke about. You know, there's so much historical overlap with Buddhism and Taoism. But I found that life happens in the gray. So we have, in Taoism, we talk about yin and yang. But the real life energy takes place between the two. And that's, I think in Christianity we'll call it a mystery. Today happens to be Pentecost in the Christian church, and there's an aspect of the Bible that talks about the Holy Spirit that blows where it wills. And in many ways it's about freedom and liberation to be who we are authentically. And maybe I should share the confirmation that the heavens gave me to do this interview.
We'd love to hear that.
It was a shirt that somehow was below other shirts. That was a gift given to me by a female shaman a while ago. She happens to be a clinical psychologist as well in Florida, and she gave me a shirt from the Human Rights Campaign. But anyway, it was just a shirt saying beautiful, but in the middle the words be you. And that happens to be my middle name, translated from Japanese, meaning beautiful. And it was the sign I needed to do this.
Okay. I'm so glad you received that sign.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it sounds like there have been many streams of spirituality and spiritual tradition that inform who you are and where you are
Many
today.
streams. And I think as I continue to evolve, I pray that I will continue to expand and embrace goodness and healing in all its forms. But the basic structure that I work out of today is Taoism.
You mentioned the middle way. Did I get the words right?
Yes.
Is there any more you want to share about what that means for you?
I think it has many implications for today. I think as human beings we can have a tendency out of fear to go either extreme, to embrace ideologies, sometimes unconsciously or subconsciously, that could cause harm to oneself and others. But the middle way is a way of balance and being able to see all perspectives and trying to find the most benevolent path within that middle path. Sometimes I tell myself and I tell my patients health and joy and the virtues is hard work, and it feels like you're walking on a tightrope. And that's the hard work it takes to balance. But once you feel the freedom, the liberation, the joy of walking that tightrope, you don't want anything else.
Yes. It's true. It's very true. Yeah. Wonderful. I'm also wondering, I'm wondering if I want to make sure that we are able to be heard.
Yes.
So I'm going to pause for just a moment and you can come back.
Sure.
Looks like we're going. Good. So thank you. So the next thing I want to check in about are totem animals. And I'm wondering if there are any totem animals that are important either in your lineage, the lineages that you kind of come from that you've spoken about, or to you personally.
I think ever since I was a child, my favorite animal was the green turtle. And it is the green turtle in Hawaii is considered sacred. And I think there was aspects of the turtle that I can relate to, from being patient, being reflective. The turtle also is vegetarian, and it doesn't want to cause any harm to any other animal. And I see the turtle as strong but gentle. And turtles are known to live a long time.
So you've connected with them for a long time.
I have.
Are there any special experiences with turtle that come to mind, or dreams, or anything that you'd like to share? Or
I think there was a fable when I was a child. It was a Japanese fable called Momotaro. And it was a fable about a child that was born, and when the child grew up, the child connected to the turtle. And the turtle took the child down into the depths of the ocean and showed the child many different mysteries of the world. And then later I learned that the first writings of this medicine was actually written on turtle shells a long time ago. And the turtle happens to be one totem of this medicine, which I didn't know as a child. It symbolized longevity, but it also symbolized an animal that never sought the limelight, but just did what it needed to do. I saw it as a gentle and kind ocean animal. And I think over the years I was affirmed by the beauty and importance of the turtle. One of my patients here is from the Cherokee tribe, and I consider him a shaman in his own right. And he told me a story about his tribe that stated when there would be no more turtles in the world would die. There are other fables growing up. Some were as simple as the turtle and the hare. And sometimes I thought, I didn't seem to fit the fastidiousness of our culture. A culture that wanted a quick fix, or thought that the winner of a race is victorious. And the turtle reminded me, no, you can be patient, you can be reflective, and you can still win the race.
That's awesome. You can have all of it, huh? Yes. It makes me think of the balance rope you were talking about. that might be part of it, finding that balance. You know, you've mentioned this medicine a couple of times. I wondered if you could just share, I know it's probably huge, but just what this medicine means to you when you say that.
Well, this medicine is really rooted in nature. So when one reads about the history of this medicine, it began with shamans meditating on the stars and the moon and nature. So all the points along the meridians have names that are connected to nature. Some points would be called Crooked Pond, Shady Mountain, Bubbling Spring. They're almost literal metaphors of nature. And the medicine seeks to look at the body as intimately connected to the world, to one another, to the universe. One of my teachers happened to be a Tibetan monk who practiced this medicine, and I remember going to his room, and he had traced all the stars in the universe to the points on the acupuncture points on the human body. So as I reflected on that, it reminded me that we affect one another, we affect the universe. When we bring loving kindness to ourselves, to our bodies, to our spirits, to our minds, we can create more harmony in the world, in the universe. And in that harmony, I see all the virtues from mercy, justice, love, patience, humility, forbearance, all the virtues that our religions articulate.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it really lands in my heart when you say that. So I'm curious if there's anything in particular. What's the most important message that you might have for the world at this particular time?
I think two things. One thing is I notice small acts of loving kindness done with great love is cumulative. And some of us think, are we a Mother Teresa or Martin Luther King or these great saints or prophets that have come before us? But when you look at their lives, they began doing small acts of great love, and it just kept accumulating, and it just became a pattern. So I thought every minute of our day we have a chance to make a decision. Sometimes it might be crossing the crosswalk with someone who's disabled, and one can ask them, do they need help crossing the street? Or just smiling at someone. So I think that's the main message.
that these small acts of loving kindness really make a difference.
I believe so.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense. You said two things initially. Is there something else, or is that the main heart of?
I think maybe the second one was, this medicine is so physical in many ways, and I remember one of my clients was a nun, and she happened to be sexually abused as a child. And she began her ministry with healing touch. And the name that she discussed with me that she wanted to create was sacred bodies, sacred body, mind, my body. And I think there's aspects of religion, including Taoism, in the past that have tried to separate the body or the flesh from the spirit, and created I would say ideologies where religions or philosophies have relegated the physical body below the spirit or the mind. But in this medicine, we're all one. And if there's violence done to the physical body, there's violence done to the spiritual body or the emotional body. And so I love to approach this medicine. I always meditate and touch the point on every patient with great respect and love before I place the needle in. And I think there's aspects of our life today that might have been fueled by this separation or dichotomy type of philosophies. So helping to people to really love their physical body as connected in, as one with spirit, mind, emotions, and helping them come back to their authentic self.
Thank you so much. So beautiful and true to the heart. So, is there anything that we haven't covered that comes up that you feel like you'd like to share, or does this feel complete for you?
I think I'm continuing to learn, and I want to continue to evolve and expand. I learn so much from my patients and from exposure to different spiritualities. Every day I come to work excited, and I'm so passionate about really creating a more compassionate and just world, where people will be free to choose love over fear or violence. And I know it begins with us, the decisions we make, and oftentimes we need guides and we need to help others and the younger generation coming forward.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.